What's going on, everybody? My name is Suge, and I am here with Mr. Jay. We are on chapter 19 of the Covert. This is our Mando review. Mr. Jay, how are you doing? We're recording a long one today, but it's going to be fun. Um, Once again, thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking spoilers for chapter 19 of the Mandalorian season 3 series. So if you haven't watched it yet, please come back after you watch the episode and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Mr. J, this is like I said, chapter 19, the covert, uh, where we pick up right after Din and Bo-Katan are on their way back to her castle, um, and they're in her fighter jet, and they're going, and all of a sudden they get a warning, not a warning, but their alarms start going off, and Imperial, I believe it was Imperial starships. I think they were I forgot what the class was called. Imperial tie, they were Imperial tie destroyers, I believe. No, they weren't tie destroyers. They were a special kind of tie fighter jets but they came out of nowhere. And
I think she said interceptors.
interceptors, yeah. So tie interceptors. So they start attacking them, and they pull a Wakanda Forever move where Din jumps out of the starship and kind of lands, and he hits his jetpack to get to a ship. And he gets in his ship right before he gets hit, and they start taking out the TIE fighters, and they're going and doing all kinds of maneuvers, and it was really dope to see that, how they were, maneuvering and seeing Bo fly and all that stuff. That was kind of really cool action to see. Really, really dope. And so they end up taking out all the TIE fighters, and as they're going back toward the castle, or they're about to go start by the castle, they start getting more warnings, and you see explosions. So they start heading to the castle, and you see the TIE bombers bombing Bo-Katan's castle, and she freaks out. Like, she just immediately gets pissed off, and she's pissed, and she starts going after them, and they take off, and she actually fires a missile, takes one down, and she's just pissed. Uh, Before we get into what happens next, what were your thoughts on the action sequence of their flying in the beginning, and then your thoughts on them bombing her castle, just destroying it?
I thought her piloting was dope. Kind of resembles Mando, so I guess they're trained. It doesn't matter like where she doesn't follow the way or where Mando learns. They're both clearly skilled pilots. Not like on Anakin Skywalker level, but still good enough to where they can do some trick moves to get behind their enemies. But when I see them bombing their home, it kind of the first word we talked about in last videos where, like, I think seeing Amanda kind of restores her faith, and she needs somebody. Like, she doesn't say it, but no, they just bombed her home, and all these feelings towards Grogu and Din Djarin now. Like, hey, it's starting to come complete. So, but yeah, she was about to take on everybody, which was about to be very, very stupid.
Very bad. Yeah, very bad.
Then had to talk some sense into her, like, hey, pull back. We will get them later. Hey, do you hear me? Hey, listen, pride ain't worth it right now. You will die.
Right, especially with they had a bunch coming at him, and so he talks sense to her, and they take off. Now, this was a total left, like a curveball, because I'm thinking, okay, they're taking off. Now we're gonna see where they go, and we're gonna go through all this stuff, and then the story just shifts. We go to, oh my god, I can't remember the planet now. What's the planet with this? Oh my god, I have to have him cut this out because I don't remember the planet.
For me, I didn't write in my notes.
Coruscant. Yeah. I cannot believe they. Yeah. So it takes a left turn, and we go to Coruscant. and you see the opera house that we saw in, I believe, Return, Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin was. And they're at the opera house, and you hear someone speaking, and we ended up getting the Doctor from season 1 and 2. The Doctor is there, Doctor Persian, Pershin. He's giving a lecture, and he's talking about how the Empire made him do certain kind of work that has to deal with cloning. He's trying to explain why he was doing it, his purpose of he was his mom had died, and he made it his mission to try to help try to help um, that situation. So he thought he was doing something good, but the Empire was using it for evil. And then we get this whole you get this person that walks into the opera house, and you don't see their face at first. And you're like, okay, cool. So you can see he's writing back, and there's an amnesty program now for people that work for the Empire. You can come be a part of the new Republic, and it's basically what AA, basically, like, oh, you're living in a sober living home, basically. You did bad things, but we're going to take you back. You're going to work for us. We're going to give you a place to live and food and everything, but you're working for us now. So they actually have their own space and everything, the Amnesty villas. And he goes back to the villa, and he sees a couple other people that had worked for the Empire. They're having a drink, and they call him over and say, "Hey, come have a drink with us." So he's like, "Okay," and you can tell he's very timid. And they slowly pan to each person, and the last person ends up being the officer that was on Moff Gideon's ship, who he knew. And he even says, like, I didn't expect to see anybody from Moff Gideon here. And like they're like, oh, you rode with Moff Gideon. And she's like, yeah, but I don't try to think about it. Um, which was very interesting because right off the bat, Jay, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Right off the bat, she was sketch. I believe Elia Kane was her name, the officer's name. And she was just sketch. Like you could just tell right off the bat she was sketch. So what were your thoughts when you saw her, or even when you saw the Doctor? What were your overall thoughts, or where did you see the episode going in this direction?
No, not really. It was a complete 360. But when I saw her face, I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna end well because like from previous seasons, every time you see her face, it goes Ari. It always goes left. And
Yeah.
and throughout, we're gonna talk about it, but no, you're right. No, I'm right. Um, but yeah, seeing and we're gonna, I guess, jump to that the conversation we had, or the officers have at that table, talking about like yellow biscuits and I guess in the some packs and
Yeah.
and whatever, and then fast forward, we bring the doctor person gets like a whole container full of them, and I'm thinking like and that's I don't know where that came from though, so that might be like a little um what's one look for it might be a little like flashback to I guess to the movies because I mentioned I want to mention that it kind of gives you that old Star Wars feel. Can you hear like the rich dude talking about Empire, Rebels, New Republic? I can't keep up. I'm thinking like that's I don't know where, but that's like a shot somewhere. That's like a like a
Yeah.
throwback. Yeah, there you go. That's where I'm looking for. A throwback, for the older viewers.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think, let me tell you something. If someone knocks on your door and nobody's there, but there's a gift below you, that whoever left that, it's all bad. It's just don't even take it. Don't even associate with that person because it's all bad. Something bad's gonna happen.
Throw it away.
Yeah, but he takes it, and she tells him, "Oh, I'll show you around Coruscant." And they go to the I guess a mountain peak that's so high, it's from the actual planet, And so they're standing there and they're talking, and they're talking about like and you can just tell by how she's talking about things that she's just trying to get him to like just agree with her. And they start talking about his research and how he's like, I really want to keep doing it because I think it can help the New Republic, but I can't because that was Imperial stuff. And she kind of like goes against. She's like, oh well, if it's a good thing, then there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. And she even tries to get him to touch the rock and say, well, live a little bit, to kind of gain his trust. And he gets in trouble for trying to touch the rock. And she laughs and giggles about it, but then it was like a manipulative move. She was like trying to gain his trust and everything. And then he kind of brings up the biscuits and he's like, hey, well, where'd you get you got those for me? And she kind of didn't say anything. And she's bringing up, you should do your research and stuff. And you can tell he's struggling with this. He, even in this picture right here, when he's talking to the droid, he's like fidgeting with his ear. He doesn't really answer right away, and that's weird. I thought that was a weird thing to do every day, that you have to go visit a droid and they go, "How do you feel about your coworkers?" Could you imagine if that was a real thing for us nowadays? Like, how do your coworkers piss you off? Like,
I'm like, do you want the truth or you want the
you want me to company lie to you? So it was very interesting when they were doing that, but you could tell it bothered him. Things were starting to bother him. He's messing with his ears. And then he's working, and the one of the New Republic people brings him stuff, and they're talking about decommissioning stuff, and we're going to destroy everything. And he's like, no, well, this is good. This is good research. And they're like, no, we're going to destroy it. And you can see that he grabs the yellow biscuit, he starts to eat. You can see that he's having that inner turmoil. And so she had mentioned, like, you should continue your research, because he went to her and started talking to her, and you should continue your research. And he says no at first, but you knew as soon as he said no, you're like, okay, he's gonna do it. He just needs a little bit more nudging, and he got the nudging when they said they're gonna destroy all this information. When you started to see that change, do you think he was in the right mindset, like he wanted to help the New Republic, or do you think that he had alternative motives also with doing his research on cloning?
I thought he had a hard time, I guess, adjusting to everything. Like, of course, like that research, that's his bread and butter. That's his baby. That's thing. That's from the ground up. And to see that he can't touch it anymore, and you see during his interview, the body language, it's just not right. Like mentally,
Yeah.
clearly he's frustrated. He's struggling. So I don't. Yeah, I think he been wanting to try to get the research back, but he's not that. From the way he walks, from the way he talks, he's just not that type of person to go against rules or go against code.
Yeah.
And until Ilya Kane comes in, kind of persuades him, convinces him that, oh, if you got me by your side, everything will be all right.
Every little thing gonna be all right. As soon as she said that, you should have been like, "No, I'm good. Nope, something's up with you."
But I wish, my bad. I wish he could have did it a different way. Like if he wanted to continue his research, there was a different way instead of. I wish he would. I wish he would have known or trusted his instinct when he first saw her.
Yeah.
Because that's where he messed up. He knew that she was bad. She wasn't no good, but his feelings about his research took over, and his, I guess, faith in people kind of messed him up. So that's where he messed up.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the old saying say, the road is paved with good intentions. He had good intentions, but he went about it the wrong way, because even the officer tells him, you can do this paperwork, and you can apply to try to get this research reinstated for you. But he goes, I've never seen anybody get it done. So it wasn't out of the realm that maybe the Republic would have been like, oh, you know what? Why don't you go ahead and do the research? But he had to take the steps. Instead, he decided, no, I'm going to go the easy way. And he goes to Kane and says, hey, I need a mobile workstation. And she's like, I know where I can get one. We're going to sneak out tonight and get it. And he's reserved about it. He's like, he's unsure. but he goes along with it because he thinks he's doing the right thing. And there's a whole train sequence. It's kind of like those old movies where they're being chased by the cops through a train, and they get to the end of the train and they got to jump, and they jump and they get to the yard where all the Imperial starships are at that are being decommissioned. And they get there and they break in, and you're talking, and they're like, she's being kind of, I'm sorry I never said hi to you. Like, as soon as someone would have said that to me, I was like, wait a minute, what are you up to? Wait, what's going on? That's what he should have said. No, 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 red flags. But he didn't. They get to a they get to a the quarters where they have what he needs, and he starts to pack the stuff up, and everything. And all of a sudden, they start hearing noises, and when they get out of the room, they see, shadows. So they take off running, and they're like trying to get out of there, and they get out, and then boom, it's like the 5-0 is there, popos are there, um, and you're thinking, okay, she was trying to get him out of there. Okay, maybe she's not part of it. And then all of a sudden, the officers all lower their guns, and she steps in front of them. And I was like, I knew it. Straight knew it. Straight snitch. Okay, we were just talking about snitches the other day. Can't be snitching. And she snitched on him, and it goes back to, and he's in a thing, and he's in a machine, and he's like, this is a mind flare, like, you're gonna wipe my mind. And like, no, 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 we're just gonna make soothing thoughts, try to, so you're not thinking about all these bad things, and then you see her Kane behind the glass, and you're just like, wow, she really snitched him out, and the guy that's talking to him, or the alien that's talking to him, is telling him like, yeah, she's already filed a report. She told us the truth and all this stuff. And and it takes you back, because when you think about the episode, you're thinking, okay, what was the plan here? Like, what was her plan? Why is she doing this? And you don't really get a sense of why, because supposedly she's in the amnesty program. So obviously she had to prove that she was willing to be really rehabilitated. She obviously had to prove it because she got into the amnesty program. They talked about Moff Gideon, and there's even a line, and we kind of skipped over that, where the officers are talking that supposedly Moff Gideon got away. That and I don't know if you remember it, but when they're at that table and they're drinking, when he comes back, they say that. Well, once she says, "Oh yeah, I was part of Moff Gideon's thing," someone's like, "Yeah, they were transporting him, and they either got killed or got away," and nobody knows. So this is like, okay, is she working for Moff Gideon? Is she working for is she working for the First Order now? What's her plan? And the doctor's, like, you're gonna erase my mind. No, we're not. And then she's in the room, and she tells the guy, oh, can I stay here? He's my friend, and I just want to make sure he's okay. The guy, that's another red flag. Like, why would you want to stay in there? And she turns the dial all the way up. Now, my understanding is that's erasing his mind when she turns the dial all the way up. So is she there to get rid of all that knowledge that he had in his head about the cloning? What exactly is the point of her doing that? Can only be that. It's that she was trying to get rid of that information. And you see her pick up the biscuit, and she eats it all diabolical, with that evil smirk on her face. When you saw that she was the one that set him up, what were your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously, you knew, you're like, oh, there's something wrong. But like, did you think that she was really part of it? Do you think she's working for Moff Gideon? Like, what are your whole thoughts on Kane now?
I think with them saying like, oh, either he got when they were talking at the table, yeah, he got like you may have got killed or got away. I believe he got away because we see her face. I'm like, oh man, this saga continues. We thought it was over, but no. But
Yeah.
and that device where the doctor was in, I want to say we see that in Star Wars, the Clone Wars too, back with the clones on their back on their home planet where they had to be rehabilitated. So immediately when I knew when I first saw that, like, yo, I don't care what that person's saying, this machine's gonna wipe out his mind if turned up too high. Because the same thing happened to a fellow, I forgot his name in the cartoon, but the same thing happened to him where it turned up too high, and Like he couldn't remember his own name afterwards. Like he was cooked. And I don't know if you caught this. I might be it might be far fetched, but that creature kind of resembled I forgot in the movies where it's, when the you know how in the show the doctor said it's a trap. I'm thinking like that's a throwback. That's a throwback to the movies.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an Easter egg, especially who he said it to. He said it to the same creature.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, hold up, I know this from somewhere. I know this from somewhere. Like my mind is like it's kind of foggy because of the movies. Well, you can still watch them now on Disney Plus, but still, I haven't watched them in a minute. I'm thinking like, I know that from somewhere. Where do I know that from somewhere?
Yeah.
And the creature looked just like him. So I think like this episode was kind of like a throwback, kind of get the old fans like, hey man, kind of like invested too. And we see it in the end credits too, to where it's kind of looking like the old in the movies the old Empire and stuff, because they're in the old suits, but not in the suits in the episode. So I'm looking like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, for sure. And what's interesting about all these episodes is you think they're going to be over then, and then they still have more. So the episode you're thinking, okay, it ends. It's about to end, and all of a sudden we come out of hyperspace with Den and Bo, and you're like, wait, what's going on now?
Right.
And they end up going to the planet where the other Mandalorians are hanging out with the armor, and Paz Vizsla. So they go there. They roll up, and he rolls up. And it's funny how you can see their expressions, but they have helmets on. But you can tell he's just hating. He sees Mando. He's like, this motherfucker. And he's like, you're a fake. And he's like, no, I bathed in the waters. He's like, no, you didn't. And he's like, yeah, I did. And Bo's like, yeah. And he's like, well, you're a fake too. Like, and so you're like, all right, let's go see the armor. Because he shows him the container with the water, and he gives it to the armor, and she pours it in the water, and it does this thing. And she's like, he speaks the truth. So they're like, oh, so he's like, all right, you've been redeemed, then. And I'm thinking to myself, okay. And when they talk about this part, I didn't even think about it till when the armor said it, and they go, okay, Bo-Katan, you too have been redeemed. And she's like, well, I don't walk the way that you guys do. She goes, well, since you got redeemed, have you took off your helmet? No. And so, you are part. You can be a part of us. You're still Clan Creed, but you can be part of our covert, and we welcome you. And I think what you're talking about earlier was how she didn't have anybody, and then all of a sudden she has a whole crew, like because as soon as they say this is the way, like all of them start coming and congratulating her, and they're like, good, welcome. And they're all cool. And remember in the first episode, she said all of her people left her. All of the people she had that were rolling with her straight dipped. And now all of a sudden, all these Mandalorians are like, no, we got your back now, girl. We're with you. And then you see the shot of the Mr. Sor skull or art or whatever it is, because I think the Mythosaur's huge compared to what they had on the wall. It's way bigger. She's staring at it, and that's where you kind of get this weird feeling like, okay, is she going to tell them, or is she not going to tell them, or what's her plan? Is she going to try to take the Darksaber? No, like you're like, okay, what's up with Bo? Like, what's Bo's plan? Because up to this point, we all know she wanted the saber. Now she doesn't have it, but now she's seen the Mythosaur, and she knows what the Mythosaur means to Mandalorians. So now we're like, all right, what's your game plan now? And so when you saw her being welcome in, did you have any thoughts on that? Did you feel good for her? Because like I said before, when we were talking earlier, I felt bad for her. And now I'm like, wait a minute. Now she's gained all this stuff back. She's gained a family. She's gained followers again. She gained recognition. She gained honor, that she hadn't had before, that she hadn't had for a while. What were your thoughts on that whole situation with Bo-Katan and the Cobra?
I thought that she was kind of trying to reject it at first, because, like you said, it's like, hey, I don't walk this way. And then the armor reassures her, like, hey, man, you didn't take off your helmet. You bathed in the living waters. You were rolling with Den. I believe him. And now, you're part of this creed. And she kept, because the camera kept going to her face, to where it looked like she was like confused. She was like because we can't see her face,
Yeah,
obviously. But her body language looked like, hey man, I don't know if I deserve this because obviously what happened with her people. But in the end, at the same time, you feel like, yeah, man, like this could be a new chapter. No, this could be you could walk the way again, even though you don't really believe in it. And she could. My prediction, far fetched down the road, is that she might rule better than her parents or her people, which who ruled Mandalore, because I don't think they really knew like the groundwork people, like they were so high and mighty, But now
yeah,
she's seeing all these people like believing in like more people believing than Jarvis. It's an entire creed that walks the way, that refuse to take off their helmet. Who we're gonna talk about in the next episode, but they do a bunch of stuff to prepare to like fortify them in the creed, and it's all thanks, like I say, it's all thanks to living waters and whatnot. But yeah, I'm very happy that it feels like she has a home again. Is
yeah,
that
for
free?
sure. No, no,
I'm
you're
frozen.
free. You're good. No, no.
My bad.
Now you're frozen. Okay, you're good.
On my end, looks like I'm freezing.
It comes in and out. I think you're good now.
All right. But what I was saying was like, yeah, I feel I feel good for it. But I hope she doesn't mess this up. I hope like the dark saber doesn't like break this, because it feels like this is a new start. It feels like she needs this because no, like I say, it's been a while.
Yeah, for sure. I think I agree with you 100% that she feels renewed. It's kind of almost like a religious thing. Like she feels renewed, and you're right. The way the camera was panning to her, it was like, wait, I don't deserve this, or I'm not, or I don't, I'm not about this life. And then like I said, they kind of surround her and they're like, good job, and they're like, thanking her and welcoming her. And I think it kind of like gave her a sense of almost purpose right now. Because if you think about it, she really doesn't have a sense of purpose. You know, she doesn't really have anything right now, and so this kind of gave her a sense of purpose. And when we talk about the next episode, you can really see that on display, that she went out of her way. Now she was like, "Oh no, we're gonna go do this," you know. And I think this gave her a sense of purpose. So I think this episode was very interesting because, like we said in the beginning, you started off with Bo and Den and Grogu, and then it went completely to the right, to the left, and you're like, okay, where is this going? But I think it's an important part of the story because it's going to set up something down the road. Like I said, there's after the next episode we talked, there's only 4 episodes left. So they're laying groundwork for something that's going to happen down the road, maybe with Moff Gideon, maybe with Kane, maybe with the New Order. We do know that in the Last Skywalker, or yeah, is it the Last Skywalker? I don't remember what the movie was called. Is it the Last Skywalker? Or am I just being dumb? What was the last prequel movie? Jesus Christ, I should know this. But anyway, that last movie, we know that the Palpatine was cloned, and we know that there's clones there. We know that the Doctor was trying to clone something. We know that Grogu was a big part of that. So this is setting up something to connect to that movie. Now, I thought this episode was fine. I thought there was some cool moments in it, and I think that the episode overall, again, is laying groundwork. It wasn't a episode where you're like, oh my god. It was just a episode that laid groundwork for later episodes, and I'm okay with that. I'm not one of those fans that they get angry where it's like, we didn't have a cameo, we didn't have action, this was a waste of an episode. No, no, no. I want episodes to lay groundwork, because then we can look back and be like, oh, remember in chapter 19 that happened, and now we're here. We should have saw that in chapter 19. So overall, how did you feel about the episode? Do you feel the same way, or did you think it was a waste of an episode, or they could have done something different?
I thought it was fine, Mac. It could have went. I thought it in the middle where the Doctor perishing Ella Kane. I think that could have been. That could have waited, but
Okay.
it wasn't. It's like it fit well, because now we know that somebody out from Moff Gideon's crew is alive. Now I'm thinking it's still working for them, so that must mean he's somewhere chilling on the moon or somewhere, just waiting, to supply. Like also in Dark City and stuff. I think he got his legs chopped off, just chilling, just applying his revenge or his next step, off screen. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I like the groundwork, but I just feel like that scene, those scenes where Elia Kane and Dr. Pierce could have been somewhere else, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, hey, everyone has a right to opinion, right? So with that, want to thank you for watching. If you have thoughts, opinions, or comments, leave them in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Let us know if we missed something, or let us know if you agree or disagree with us. We'd love to hear from you. Once again, thank you for joining our review of The Mandalorian Season 3, Chapter 19, The Covert. We appreciate it. Make sure to check out the other episodes as we review them and talk about our feelings on what we saw and how we see the show. And we appreciate you for watching. Have a good one.